such a wonderful place. Ooh, when I'm flying, looking from an airplane, soaring through space. Ooh, when I'm flying. Ooh, when I'm flying. When I'm flying. Up where the sunlight meets the air, the people look little living way down there. The clouds look whiter and the sun seems brighter. Ooh, when I'm flying. Ooh, when I'm flying. Ooh, when I'm flying.
Oh, right, an F-14 cockpit fighter jet.
What did Grandma send you for your birthday?
A model airplane, but I can't seem to get it open.
Here, I'll hold and you pull.
Ouch!
I didn't do it. I don't know who you are, but I know I didn't do it.
Who am I? Oh. Oh, I'm Hard Hat Harry, the magical genie with the hard hat. Who are you?
I'm Jimmy, and I'm 10, and this is my sister Katie. She's 8.
Hi, what were you doing in there?
Ooh, feeling really, really cramped. I started out wanting to know all I could about airplanes, but somewhere I took the wrong turn. 1 second. Left at Albuquerque, right at Los Angeles, left at Tijuana. Oh, anyway. And I ended up in there.
Did you like airplanes too?
Like 'em? Like 'em? Why, I practically invented them.
You did? Really?
Well, maybe invented them is too strong. But I was there when Wilbur and Orville made their first flight.
Orville and who?
Jimmy, don't you know who Orville and Wilbur Wright were?
He can amaze you with what he doesn't know.
Well, what about you, Katie? Do you know who the Wright brothers were?
What do you want from me? I'm only 8.
Oh, well, to get a better appreciation of airplanes and what they do for us, I think you guys need to know their history. Hey, how would you guys like to travel back in time with me and see the first airplane that ever flew?
You bet! Let's go!
We're not gonna end up in there, are we?
No. I learned my lesson the first time. Left at Albuquerque, right at Los Angeles, left Anchorage. But there's something missing. I know.
My friends will never believe this.
Forget your friends. I'm having trouble believing this.
Let's see. Hocus pocus. No. 1 potato, 2 potato. Oh. Cross your fingers, close your eyes. Into the past we go to see machines that fly. Since the first man saw the first bird, he's wanted to fly. However, his first attempts at flight were sometimes humorous and almost always disastrous. You may laugh, but all that changed for the good in 1903 when 2 brothers, Orville and Wilbur Wright, rolled their flying machine onto a hill overlooking the tiny community of Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Their self-propelled biplane did something no flying machine had ever done before. It flew! And it flew under its own power. The first airplanes didn't look like anything we fly in today. They were made out of wood, cloth, and baling wire, and they were usually built by the pilots who flew them. Early pilots experimented with all types of designs.
That doesn't look like it can fly.
I wouldn't want to fly in that.
Boy, that's
Boy.
funny looking.
This strange machine was called a gyro plane. It flew. Believe it or not, this was one of the first passenger airplanes. Over the next 30 years, the speed, comfort, and safety of flying machines improved greatly. This is one of the first passenger-carrying seaplanes. Now let me show you how they fly these old planes. The pilot guides the airplane with something called a control stick.
Hey, that's like my video game.
Yeah, just like your video game. To fly straight, the stick is left in the center position. To dive or make the plane go down, the stick is pushed forward. To climb or go up, the control stick is pulled back. To roll the plane to the left,
The pilot holds the stick to the left.
right. And to go right,
The control stick is moved to the right.
exactly. Come on, let's take this old plane for a short ride. Here we go! Hold on to your hats, it gets a little windy up here. Pretty neat, huh? What a view! We're going in for a landing. Not too bad.
Why did you stop the picture?
Well, it just occurred to me. Do either of you guys know how an airplane actually flies?
By magic?
No, not quite, Katie. Actually, airplanes rely on something a little more dependable than magic. It's known as aeronautical engineering. Well, why don't you guys come along with me and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, guys. Now, most people believe that it is the air that lifts the wings of an airplane up from underneath. But that's only half true. The air doesn't lift the wings up, it sucks the wings up.
What did he say?
Okay, let's take a look here. Notice how the top of the wing is curved and the bottom of the wing is relatively straight. Now, since the top of the wing is longer than the bottom of the wing, the air traveling over the top of the wing has to travel faster and farther than the air traveling underneath. Now, this suction effect is what lifts the airplane's wings up in the air from the top. Got it?
Got it. Got it?
Got it.
Good! Okay, now, this is the airplane's propeller. Now, some airplanes have jet engines, but we'll learn more about that later. A propeller's job is to push air over the wing, and as you just learned, it's that action that causes an airplane to fly. Cool?
Cool. Cool? Double cool. But I have another question. With so many airplanes flying, how do they keep from running into each other?
Well, do you see that building over there? That's the control tower. Now, its job is to talk to the airplanes on the radio and give them directions on where they should be and where they should go. Let's take a look. Okay. Control towers use special equipment to locate, identify, and follow airplanes when they fly. But all that equipment is useless without this guy.
Hello, my name is Ken Locke. I'm an air traffic control specialist at the Santa Barbara Air Traffic Control Tower. That's the large building on the airport at Santa Barbara. My job consists of talking to pilots in airplanes, and we talk to them as they depart the airspace, flying to various parts of the country, and we talk to them when they come and land. Our job is to keep them from hitting each other in the sky and on the ground. The green screens you see that are up here in the tower cab are the primary and secondary radar that we use. We use that. It sends out an electronic signal that sees the airplane in the sky and even much further away than we can see with our eyes. Using that system of radar, we can keep those airplanes separated from all the other airplanes in the sky. They come in, they land, they take off.
Hi, I'm Ken Sharp, and I'm working the tower control position, and we use the light guns here in the tower to allow aircraft that have lost their radios to land or take off or go around, and several other actions that we may ask them to do. But it's kind of similar to a traffic signal. Red means stop or go around, and green means cleared to land, or takeoff, cleared for takeoff. So these aid us in assisting aircraft that have lost their radios and that aren't able to obtain a clearance through the frequencies.
This is called a windsock or wind sleeve, and to the trained pilot, it indicates which direction the wind is blowing and how hard. The airline industry has come a long way since the Wright brothers first flew in 1903. All over the world, hundreds of airlines carry millions of people every day. Hundreds of times a day, jets like these crisscross America, carrying their passengers safely to their destinations. And as the flight controller in the tower explained, radar sees each plane so the flight controller knows where all the planes are. Then he tells each plane where to fly so it doesn't crash into another plane. Great, huh?
Cool!
Once the jet lands, airport ground personnel assist by directing it to its proper gate where passengers and cargo are unloaded, making sure the properly marked baggage is sent to the proper places. Then, the plane has a maintenance check and is refueled for its next flight. Hey kids, before we can board and fly a big jet, we have to buy our ticket and check our luggage. There goes my suitcase. They're going to load it on the plane. By the way, remember the propeller engine we looked at earlier?
I remember.
Me too.
Well, this is a jet engine. While it's more powerful, it works on the same basic principle. The turning fans in the front of the engine suck in air, which in turn is ignited with fuel and forced out the back. This moves the plane forward, which in turn forces air over the wings, which in turn does what?
It creates suction.
And that suction lifts the airplane.
Correcto mundo! Have you guys ever ridden in a passenger plane? No? Well, I'm sure my friend here will be glad to tell you all about it.
Our job is to make sure that you're safe and comfortable on your flight, and if you have any questions, you approach us with those. And we hope you have an enjoyable flight when you do get to fly with us.
Wow, this is neat! As a genie, when I fly around, I don't have any of these comforts like stereo controls, reading lights, padded seats, headrests, and I certainly don't have anyone like Christina to take care of me.
I have to tell you, our special passengers are kids. I have a couple of kids of my own at home, and I really enjoy it when we have kids flying along with us.
Today, airplane passengers fly with all the comfort, safety, and conveniences of their own living room, with plenty of overhead space to store things so they can rest comfortably during their flight. Thanks, Christina.
That was cool. What's next?
Well, do you guys remember where the Wright brothers first flew their airplane?
You mean Kitty Hawk, North Carolina?
That's right, Katie. Well, now we're going to see another Kitty Hawk, only this one is floating in the middle of the ocean. This is the USS aircraft carrier Kitty Hawk. Literally, it is a floating city at sea, complete with its own airport and a population in excess of 5,000 people.
All in one boat?
Yes, pretty amazing. Because this airport at sea is much smaller than your local airport, the aircraft here requires special equipment and special handling. For instance, a restraining or catcher cable is stretched across the runway, and landing aircraft use something called a tailhook. A tailhook is used to catch the cable and slow the aircraft. And that's exactly what it does. It takes an aircraft traveling 150 miles per hour, and it brings it to a complete stop in less than 3 seconds.
Hardhead Harry, you know everything.
Another problem on board an aircraft carrier is space. Consequently, many of the planes here have the unique ability to fold their wings.
Wow, that's cool!
Also, airplanes on aircraft carriers don't take off, they're launched. They're attached to something called a catapult, which is steam-driven, and pushes the airplane to a speed which makes it possible for the plane to become airborne.
Like the rubber band on my model plane?
Yes, Jimmy, but a little more sophisticated. It does that by taking an aircraft that's standing still and pushes it to a speed of about 160 miles per hour in 2.5 seconds. Aircraft carriers can carry about 80 airplanes of different sizes and capabilities. The F-14 Tomcat long-range fighter bombers, and the propeller-driven Hawkeyes, which provide the ship with high-altitude radar coverage. The A-6 Intruders with their distinctive in-flight refueling probes mounted on their nose. Most common are FA-18 Hornets. And like any airport, aircraft carriers have their own control tower, only here it's called flight operations.
I want to fly a plane like that.
Well, to fly that one, Katie, you'll have to join the Navy. Wow! Look, these planes are being refueled. When their missions require it, the Kitty Hawk's aircraft can be refueled in flight by airborne tankers like these. To refuel, the plane simply positions itself behind the tanker and attaches itself to the tanker's hose, and the fuel is transferred in flight.
Boy, those pilots have to be exact.
Whoa, hey!
Boy, aircraft carriers are busy places.
And now, too, I had no idea there were so many different types of airplanes.
Oh, that's right, Jimmy. There are all kinds of airplanes for all types of reasons. Well, let's see. There are airplanes that carry passengers, airplanes that carry cargo.
Cargo? What's that?
Well, do you remember the package that your grandmother sent to Jimmy? Well, that was sent cross-country by something called air freight, which is another name for cargo. Oh, hey, do you see that jet plane up there? That's carrying air freight. Do you want to go take a look?
You bet.
All right, let's go. You're looking at one of the largest commercial airliners ever made. But this airplane isn't carrying people, it's carrying packages. Because there are no passengers on board, the crew consists of only 3 people: the pilot, co-pilot, and flight engineer. Cargo jets like this one circle the globe 24 hours a day, day and night, delivering packages in good weather or in bad. Because many businesses depend on these planes to deliver their packages, flight schedules are very important. Because work like this goes on around the clock, it's possible for someone in New York to send a package in the afternoon and have it delivered in California the next morning. Speed of delivery is very important in the freight business. So ground crews using special equipment quickly unload large containers full of packages like the one delivered to Jimmy.
Boy, that's big!
And And if you think that container is big, look at the inside of this airplane.
Wow! What I can't understand is how something that big could fly in the first place.
Your question is quite understandable, Jimmy. It flies for the same reason the other airplanes we have seen fly. Aeronautical Engineering. The only difference is because it carries more weight, it needs larger wings and bigger engines. But the principle of flying is the same. Of course, there are other differences as well. For instance, remember the flight control stick? Well, they have been replaced by a steering wheel called a yoke. And you move the yoke up and back or turn it to steer the plane. Single engines have been replaced by multi-engines controlled by throttles like these. And electronics now guide the aircraft through the skies.
When I'm flying, when I'm flying.
Remember that funny-looking aircraft called a gyroplane we saw earlier?
I remember.
Me too.
Well, this is a modern-day version of the gyroplane called a helicopter. It works on the same general principle of suction being used to lift the aircraft. But instead of air flowing over the wings on a helicopter, the air flows over the propeller blades located on the top of the aircraft. Let's watch. Helicopters like this one can carry up to 6 people. Others, like this Super Cobra attack helicopter, are used by military. It's specially designed to operate under combat situations and travels over 200 miles per hour. This jolly green giant was designed specifically for the United States Customs Department and is used to patrol our nation's coastlines and borders. Helicopters are also used to fight forest fires. One advantage they have is that they can reach remote areas and deliver their firefighting liquid with a high degree of accuracy. Now this is one of my favorites. It's called a Harrier Jet and was first designed by the Royal British Air Force. As you can see, although it looks and flies like a jet airplane, it can also hover over one spot just like a helicopter. It does this by having jet engines that can actually tilt downward when hovering, turning, or when moving from side to side is required.
Wow, will you guys remember everything you learned today?
For sure. I like the biplanes and the control tower.
And I liked all the service equipment and even Christina the flight attendant.
And don't forget all those Navy jets. They were cool.
Well, I'm a busy genie and I have a genie schedule to keep, so I'm gonna have to fly you home.
Oh no, do we have to?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid it's time to go. But just think of all the things you've learned today.
You're right. Thank you, Hardhead Harry.
Yes, thank you, Harry, and good luck on your next adventure.
Well, happy flying. Here we go.
Was that too much or what?
Yeah.
Let's tell Mom and Dad.
Radical.
Bye!
Well, the earth is such a wonderful place. Ooh, when I'm flying, looking from an airplane, soaring through space. Ooh, when I'm flying. Ooh, when I'm flying. When I'm flying, up where the sunlight meets the air, the people look little living way down there. The clouds look whiter and the sun seems brighter. Ooh, when I'm flying. Ooh, when I'm flying. Ooh. When I'm flying, when I'm flying, when I'm flying, when I'm Well, the earth is such a wonderful place. Ooh, when I'm flying, looking from an airplane, soaring through space. Ooh, when I'm flying. Ooh, when I'm flying. When I'm flying, up where the sunlight meets the air, the people look little living way down there. The clouds look whiter and the sun seems brighter. Ooh, when I'm flying. Ooh, when I'm flying. Ooh, when I'm flying. When I'm flying. When I'm flying.
Hey kids, if you want some fun and adventure, be sure to look for more of my Hard Hat Harry adventure videos. In my real-life police cars for kids video adventure, I show my friends Robbie and Amber what it's like to work alongside the men, women, and animals of our police department. Together, we explore the ins and outs of police work, from cars to motorcycles, from bicycles to boats, from the air, on the ground, and in the water. In real-life fire trucks for kids, I take Matt and Maya on a magical trip of a lifetime as we live the adventures of a real-life firefighter. From ladder trucks that stretch 100 feet into the air to powerful pumping trucks that spray thousands of gallons of water every minute, we'll see it all. We'll even travel with the firefighters as they go to battle a real fire. Each of my Hard Hat Harry videos promises to give you hours of entertaining fun and excitement. So watch for me, because I'll be watching for you. See you on our next adventure.